Hello everyone, welcome to Lao Shen's hilarious detective tales, and today's story is about to start. Staring at the notes on the wall, Lao Shen waved his key, knowing he'd found the place. He opened the drawer and was stunned. It was a photo of the recently deceased. Before he could decide what to do next, a noise came from outside. Lao Shen quickly hid aside, pulled out a wrench, and waited for the new guest. He prepared for a surprise attack, but the newcomer subdued him in one move. Fortunately, it was none other than Officer Lai, making Lao Shen breathe a sigh of. Turns out, Officer Lai discovered the old man's body during his patrol and just happened to see Lao Shen fleeing in a panic, mistaking him for the killer and slapped on the cops. Lao Shen, furious, tried to pull back, but Lai insisted on checking the drawers for two. Upon seeing it, he realized it was a misunderstanding. Then, Lai pulled out his badge, and the two followed the address to a train station. To save May, Lao Shen stopped Lai from calling for backup, and they set off on their separate missions. Lai went to the office but couldn't find the young man. Meanwhile, Lao Shen spotted his target while on duty underground and directly asked, "Where's May hiding?" The other guy wouldn't confess, and Lao Shen was like, "But I saw the photo in the drawer." The guy chose to take him down instead, followed by a flurry of kicks, but just then, Officer Lai arrived in the nick of time. Lai used his baton to halt the youth's attack, but as he checked Lao Shen, the youth hit again, knocking him down. The young man scrambled to escape, but just as he prepared to flee, this baton slammed into his leg, followed by another swing aimed at his face, but he couldn't react fast enough, getting kicked down the stairs by Lai, who was now out cold. Lao Shen, despite the pain, pursued him. Seeing Lao Shen following, the young man kicked off the guardrail and leaped onto the grassy area, while the elderly Lao Shen could only watch him escape. Just as the young man turned back all cocky, a speeding car zoomed in and knocked him flying, barely stopping before speeding away. When Lao Shen got to the young man, he found him lying there, breathless. Lao Shen shook him like he was trying to wake up a drunk buddy. But the young man only managed to say, "Not me," before closing his eyes forever. The police later labeled him as the murderer. Yu watched the news with trembling hands holding a plate, and hurried to grab some pills to calm her nerves. Talk about timing. She never forgot the scene from that year, and her heart raced in anxiety. As she was about to head home early, Lao Shen suddenly knocked on her door, asking why she was shutting it so early today. Noticing her silence, Lao Shen went straight to the point about last time. After a moment of hesitation, Yu finally invited him in. She couldn't recall the killer's face, fearing retaliation, but she remembered 2 points, a strong fragrance and a 6-fingered feel. With just these 2 clues, finding the killer felt like looking for a needle in a haystack. Lao Shen decided to visit Lao Pio, hoping she could point him in the right direction. But when he saw her, she didn't recognize him. Lao Shen pretended to be her friend Lao Wu and started sweet-talking her. Sure enough, she warmed right up. Lao Shen candidly imparted his newly acquired information and inquired of her where to look for it. However, Lao Pio's response left her completely stunned. As she approached the door, a bunch of roses caught her eye, reminding her of the fact of growing Dr. Liu's, along with Hua's description of the strong fragrance. Instantly, Lao Shen rode to Dr. Liu's, claiming illness. Dr. Liu welcomed him in and started her checkup. Lao Shen immediately noticed the scar on her thumb and cautiously asked if she had undergone surgery. Lao Shen joked, "I thought an extra finger was cut off." Dr. Liu's eyes turned deadly, and Lao Shen bluntly asked, "Where's May?" Dr. Liu asked, puzzled, how he knew that, suddenly realizing the toast shop owner could be a link since Yu had never seen her face. He suddenly understood. Lao Shen was testing her all along, and at that moment, he had confirmed she was the killer. He wanted to take out his tool to attack her, but Dr. Liu acted first and knocked him out, dragging him to the back garden. Back in the darkened consciousness, he was dragged into a hidden chamber, which was where they kept May. She was tied to the bed and unable to move. Spotting her landlord, she knocked over a nearby shelf with her elbow, causing quite a racket. When Lao Shen woke up and saw May, he finally felt relief, but she could only whimper, unable to speak. Just then, Dr. Liu dragged in his wife, unraveling the mystery before his eyes. It turned out that since May was brought back, Lao Shen had injected anesthetics, planning to change her fate by tonight. Lao Shen angrily asked why, but Dr. Liu calmly replied his wife was too much trouble, and May's resemblance to his younger self was tempting. She had resumed her sinister ways, thinking of kidnapping May to take her place, but little did she know how much they cared for May. Dr. Liu knew that the young man had done similar things 30 years ago, while Lao Shen pointed out that the lonely old folks were targeted by him. It wasn't him at all, but here was the kicker. On the day the young man kidnapped May, he actually saw his face. Now that's terrifying. Dr. Liu was shocked Lao Shen could figure that out. It was truly careless of him, yet he stopped caring about it. With that, he picked up a tool aimed at his wife, but all Puss' sudden arrival just interrupted his grim deed. The gunshot rang out, forcing him to drop the tool as all Puss' temper flared up. However, Dr. Liu was unfazed. The last fake gun incident had taught her a lesson, and she clearly wasn't falling for it again. Just as she mocked old Pooh, he suddenly squeezed the trigger, knocking off half of her ear. Blood gushed out. It turned out old Puss' son was also a cop, and he had snatched that pistol at the right moment.